My name is Samantha Ingram, and I believe District 2 deserves better. And together, we can build it. I'm not just running for City Council. I'm stepping up as a voice for change. I was raised here, rooted here, and I'm ready to fight for the future we all deserve.
I started teaching when I was 12 years old. And I would go clean the lady's house across the street so that she would pay me, and I would take that money to encourage kids to come to my school on my mother's front porch by buying them candy, popcorn. I would take the money I worked for and go back and buy candy. So that was my way. Already I was giving back to the community, right? And I wanted them to come to my school because across the street there was another school. There's another female that was teaching school on her front porch. So I had to separate myself from her. And the way I did that is by buying them candy, popcorn, and so forth, so I could have more students. So nevertheless, I ended up with more students in my school. I graduated from East Rain High School. I grew up down the way, right off of Washington Avenue. And my mother was a single parent. My mother had me when she was 16 years old. Because I used to tell my students, I don't care where you come from. It has nothing to do with it. It does not determine your destiny. I graduated from East Rain. I went on to Auburn University to graduate in pre-med biology. Found out my senior year, I was afraid of blood. I share that because in my program, under youth opportunities, I'm going to focus on making sure that students get shadowing, job shadowing, that they get student internships. Not only student internships, but they're able to work in the industry during their high school career. Because as you know, the economic impact that has on a parent when a child changes their career choices 2 and 3 times. Look at you smiling. Allow kids to know what you really want to be and what you're excited about. You can't do that if you don't have those experiences. My mom says, so what are you going to do? I said, well, we know we're not going to med school. So she said, we'll go teach because that's your heart, that's your passion. I said, I'm not going to do that because they don't make any money. I'm not doing that. That is beneath me is what I was thinking, right? As a kid, I don't know any better. And my mother said to me, follow your heart. If you follow your heart, the money will come. And she was right. I went back, I got my master's degree, my EDS, and my PhD from the University of South Alabama. I quickly rose from a classroom teacher at Manatee Blount High School to become the deputy superintendent of Mobile County Public School System. I was the youngest at that time to ever hold that seat. In doing so, when I hear the position of deputy superintendent, not only that, our historically black schools had never met performance standards. So I worked with external stakeholders and internal, and we created a transformation plan. And we created a transformation plan. We vetted those schools out, we started all over, and in 3 years, for the first time in the history of accountability, they met state performance standards. I was highly recruited then to go on to become superintendent. I would have stayed in Mobile, but a group of elected officials told me that Mobile was not ready for a black, young superintendent. And so that was that broke my heart, right? And I was going to stay, but my mother, who was very wise, said, no, it's time to leave. I just lost my husband to cancer, and 2 children, and she said it's time to leave. And I said, but I can't be a superintendent as a single parent. It is impossible. The demands of being a superintendent is just significant, and it's overwhelming at times. And she said, I will move with you. And so my mother, who had never left the state of Alabama, uprooted and moved to South Carolina with me. I was in South Carolina for 2 years, and the state recruited me to come show them how to improve schools. And so that meant that my consulting firm really started to grow. I became the first African American superintendent in the Southeast region. And so I was responsible for schools in Fort Stewart, Fort Jackson, Laurel Bay, South Carolina, and Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. So once a month or every 2 months, they would fly me from Fort Stewart to Cuba. And they're like, yes, to Cuba. I was responsible for the schools. I did that for 7 years and made great progress. I became the director, the chief for all of the schools in the United States. I did that for 5 years. All along, I was always in Mobile because my consulting firm required me to be here because I had contracts here. And I would notice that District 2 was not progressing at the rate that everyone else was. Because why are we growing? We're regressing. And so So my partner over there, who was my chief operation officer, Ms. Scott, she kept saying, you need to leave. It's time to leave. You need to come back home. And I was like, the Lord didn't say that. But I said, I can't do it yet. I have to get financially secure so that when I do this work, I'm not focused on having to work. I'm focused strictly on my community. 3 years later, the Lord blessed me to be able to walk away from all of it. Yes, I still can go back. I still have contracts in Mobile. My platform is based on my experiences. It's based on the experience of people that look just like me, but more importantly, it's focused on the heart of the city. And District 2 is the heart of the city. If the heart is not functioning, the body can't function. So my plan focuses on how do you revitalize the neighborhood, not run people away, but bring in new people, but also preserve the legacy of what's there. My second platform deals with youth opportunities. If you look at our budget, youth opportunities has significantly decreased, but yet youth violence has significantly increased. So my goal is to be able to provide youth opportunities that they can job shadow in middle school, intern in high school, so that they don't become a Samantha Ingram that realizes in your senior year that that's not what you want to do. That's going to save all of us, but more importantly, when they leave high school, they're now career ready. My third one is healthy neighborhoods. My neighborhood is not healthy right now. It's not healthy because there are blighted homes. Whenever there are blighted homes, there are safety issues, right? And so how do we address that? We address that by bringing in private businesses, nonprofits, city, federal, and grant funds. I was a federal program director. We know how to write grants. Again, I say that. They say we, yes. I am devoted and committed to giving my resources, my skills that I would normally pay people for. I'm able to now use that for my community. Because this community invested in me, and I must give back. I want to close with, to whom much is given, much is expected, and much is required. We are immensely blessed. What are we going to do to get involved? It can't just be me. It can't just be a few of us. All of us need to get actively involved. How do we do that? We do that first by finding out in our family who's registered to vote. Having the conversations with them so that we can debunk the myths that they have about voting. You can also get involved by donating. $5 goes a long way. It gives their yard sign. In addition to donating, you can help me spread the word about what we need in terms of a meet and greet. You can host a meet and greet at your home. You can host a meet and greet in the park. You can host a meet and greet on the sidewalk. So all of my blunt family and friends that are here, reach back out and figure out how do we get other blunt students involved. And that's what's going to be critical. It's not just about my election. That's not what this is about. This is really about how do we re-engage our community and being a part of the democracy. If you can do it with the Department of Defense Education activity, I can do it here at Mobile, Alabama. So thank you for being here, and I look forward to you joining me. I want to take this time for questions. If you have questions, I want to answer those questions because my platform is built on empowerment.
You spoke on opportunities for youth because when I was coming up, we did have a lot of things. We did have there were programs in Bishop State, karate, dance, and all of that was free. You did have Boys and Girls Club, field.
We're supposed to make sure that we're allocating funding appropriately so that we do have those youth opportunities. So as your city council, if I'm not allocating funds and I'm not advocating for that, that's on me. That's not on the mayor. That's on the city council.
You know, as the potential, you know, is there, but I'm just not seeing the last few years that potential actually coming to fruition. Tell us about your vision for Africa Town.
I'm so glad you asked that question. So Mr. Rogers was asking about what is the vision for Africa Town? You know, Mr. Rogers, that was really one of the areas that really broke my heart. When I, as I would be here and I'm visiting and I'm working here and I'm, talking with people, and that it has the potential to be the mecca, as Ms. Rama said, for international tourism. It's just unbelievable that when you look at it, there's no growth there. And so my plan is multifaceted. It requires private businesses coming in, either building new homes or restoring those. So that allows us to bring new people into the neighborhood. We want diversity. We don't want anything that looks the same all the way across. The second part of it is private businesses coming in and restoring homes. Why is that important? We need to preserve the legacy that's there. We don't need to run people away. When we do that, that creates that gentrification, right? So we need to preserve that. So in that, my plan also includes incentives to small businesses. So if Kim wants to take her business to Africatown, we're going to incentivize her to come to Africatown. So now we have economic development, we've revitalized the neighborhood, and so now we're going to attract new people into the neighborhood.
What do you see as an anchor point for Africatown's community?
The anchor point, again, I want to say that it has a rich history there. Just like downtown has a rich history. We need to capitalize on that.
I'm running for mayor, City of Pritchard. I'm here tonight because I want to find out what your thoughts on the relationship between neighboring cities. District 1 and District 2 buses get to City of Pritchard. So go Pritchard, so go a lot of the community that's there in Mobile. We have a lot to offer, but cities has to work together. One of the reasons we don't have public transportation because that grant is done through the City of Mobile and they decided to waiver that in their budget. So those type of things, what your thoughts on that, for us working with your neighboring cities, your sisters and brothers of Blunt, your sisters and brothers of Viger. Because right now, Dr. Crenshaw on the other side of the room, all the kids that go to Blunt now is not from Blunt. All the kids that go to the floor is not from Thomasville. So what's your thoughts on that?
My greatest strength as a superintendent, as a teacher, I can remember when we created, when I was able to identify all of these scholarships for my students, my chemistry class. And that came from collaborating and starting partnerships. I believe that none of us are as smart as all of us, but I believe in collective knowledge and I believe in partnerships. Plan, neighboring cities, we're going to have what we call a PLC. They're like, oh, she comes with the education jargon. Absolutely. I want to establish professional learning communities, network learning communities, where once a month we collaborate. We have conversations. I tell you what's working in my city, you tell me what's working in yours, but more importantly, we are sharing of resources. I can't imagine someone saying, well, no, we don't want to collaborate with Pritchard. That doesn't even sound like a growth mindset, right?
Public transportation, what do you plan for that?
So I looked at other cities. I heard some of the candidates for the mayoral position speak. I think that our public transportation has to be a collective, comprehensive decision in terms of where we go next. What we have is not working. Do I know exactly what that should look like? Not yet, but I do know some models that are working. And those models that are working, they're not using the large, huge buses. They have narrowed that down to these small buses that transport people throughout the area.
What's your plan to actually engage community to get results from community, and what is your expectation from community?
Yeah. My platform will focus on actively involving the community in decision-making. Well, it first starts with creating a structure where they can give us input. That's accountability. So it's not just accountability for me, but it's also an accountability for you. A lot of our solutions are just common sense. And citizens have those solutions. Like they know what the problem is. They have this live Google format that it doesn't cost the city $1, where you're able to enter to me what the issues are, and I'm able to come in and respond and say to you, this is where we are, this is the status, and it's ongoing, it's current, it's live. And it's not something that's 2 weeks behind, but it's right there. And we're trying to establish a youth forum where we bring out youth from all walks of life to have a conversation about youth and democracy. There is no way we're going to address crime. There is no way we're going to address economic development if we don't address our youth. So those are just 3 of the things that we're going to do from a District 2 standpoint. And I believe, and I know from my practices, that when people see practices that really work, they begin to adopt those and standardize those across the system. And that's my goal. I want to be your trailblazer. I want to show you how we get civic engagement and how we get all communities interacting, people interacting. And they do that when they know that you're responsive to their needs.
If we stretch beyond our imagination, we can do this together because you deserve better. I'm Samantha Ingram, running to represent District 2 on Mobile City Council, and I'm asking for your support and vote on August 26th. Let's build better together for District 2.